2 weeks before my wedding, the past came back to life on my phone. I was sitting across from Julia at our kitchen table, envelopes spread everywhere, guest list nearly done, when my screen lit up. One name, one I hadn't seen in 6 years. Ellie. My chest tightened so fast it felt physical, like someone had pressed a hand straight into my ribs. I hadn't saved her number. I didn't need to. Some names burn themselves into you. Her message was short, too calm, too familiar. Jasper, I need to see you. Just once. Everything isn't what you think. 6 years of silence, and that's what she led with. Julia noticed my face change immediately. She didn't ask who it was. She already knew. She reached for my hand, steady and warm, grounding me in the present while my mind was dragged backward into a night I still see too clearly. 6 years ago, Ellie and I were supposed to be married the next morning. Everything was ready. Venue paid, families flying in. My suit pressed and hanging in the hotel closet. Her dress was perfect. She'd cried when she tried it on. We'd been together 4 years. I thought I knew her. I thought that meant something. Around 10 that night, I realized I'd forgotten to bring the backup wedding band. It was still at the apartment Ellie and I shared. No big deal. I told the guys I'd be back in 20 minutes. The lights were on when I unlocked the door. I remember smiling, thinking she was probably pacing, nervous, surrounded by bridesmaids and champagne glasses. Then I heard her laugh. Soft, intimate. A sound I thought belonged only to me. I walked down the hallway slowly, my footsteps loud in my own ears. The bedroom door was half open. I pushed it wider, and the world split in two. Ellie was in our bed, with my half-brother Victor, not scrambling, not panicking, just caught. The silence that followed was heavier than any scream. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stood there, frozen, watching my entire future collapse in real time. Ellie started crying immediately, saying my name like it could fix what I was seeing. Victor couldn't even look at me. And then Ellie said the words that still echo when things get too quiet. I never wanted to marry you, she said through tears. I wanted him. I always have. The night before our wedding, she told me I was never meant to be the groom. I walked out without another word. By midnight, the venue was cancelled. By 2 a.m., every guest had an email explaining the wedding was off, and that I'd cover their travel. By morning, I had 2 suitcases packed. By noon, what should have been my wedding day, I was driving 3 hours away, leaving my entire life behind. I blocked Ellie everywhere, cut Victor out completely, and when my father took his side, I cut him out too. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong, because 6 years later, 2 weeks before I married the woman who saved me without even trying, Ellie decided she deserved one last conversation. And this time, I wasn't the same man she broke. The first year after I left was pure survival. I didn't move to heal, I moved to escape. A different city, a borrowed couch, a startup dream with a college friend who didn't ask questions when I showed up hollow-eyed and angry. I worked 18-hour days because exhaustion was the only thing that kept the memories quiet. Every time I slowed down, I saw that bedroom again, heard her voice, felt the humiliation burn all over. Victor vanished from my life completely. I never answered his calls, never read his messages. When my father told me I was being dramatic and that family forgives, I hung up and didn't call him again. Some losses are necessary. The business grew faster than I expected. By year 3, we were one of the fastest growing companies in the state. By year 4, we had offices in multiple cities. Success didn't erase the pain, but it buried it under responsibility, deadlines, and a future I'd built with my own hands. That's when Julia walked into my life. She was sitting across a conference table from me, representing a client in a contract dispute with one of my subcontractors. Calm, precise, sharp in a way that made the entire room listen when she spoke. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. After the case settled, I asked her to dinner. She said no. I asked again a week later. She said no again. The third time, she smiled and said yes, later admitting she respected that I never pushed, never pressured, never tried to corner her into something she didn't want. After Ellie, that mattered more to me than she knew. 2 years together changed everything. Julia knew my past. She knew the dates I went quiet, the nights I woke up sweating. She never tried to fix it, she just stayed, solid, present, real. 2 months ago I proposed. She said yes without hesitation. We planned a small wedding, no spectacle, no people who didn't truly support us, just peace. Then Ellie's text appeared. I showed it to Julia immediately. I expected anger, or fear, or for her to tell me to block the number and forget it ever existed. Instead, she surprised me. If you're going to meet her, Julia said calmly, do it on your terms. Close the door properly. After a lot of thought, I agreed. We set the meeting at an upscale lounge downtown. Public, neutral. I told Ellie to come alone. What I didn't tell her was that I wouldn't be. Julia insisted on coming. Not to fight my battles, but because she is my future, and Ellie needed to see that. When Ellie walked in, I barely recognized her. The woman who once laughed in our apartment hallway looked smaller now. Older. Tired. Like life had been draining her slowly, one regret at a time. Her eyes locked onto mine with something close to hope. And that's when I realized why she was really here. She wasn't looking for truth. She was looking for permission. We sat. She asked to speak privately. I said no. Whatever she had to say, she could say it right there. Her confession spilled out in pieces. The affair with Victor had lasted months. It wasn't a mistake. It was a choice, over and over again. She cried about how her life fell apart afterward, how Victor left her, how friends vanished, how her career derailed. I felt nothing, no anger, no satisfaction, just emptiness. I just want closure, she said, voice shaking. Julia leaned forward then, calm and unshakable. What you want, she said gently, is absolution, and you're not entitled to that. Ellie looked at me, waiting. So I told her the truth. What she did destroyed my life, but it also led me somewhere better. I told her I'd moved on, that she meant nothing to me now, not out of cruelty but honesty. I thanked her for coming. I said goodbye for the last time, and I walked out holding the hand of the woman who never betrayed. But the past wasn't finished testing my boundaries yet. I thought walking away from Ellie would be the end of it. I was wrong. 2 days after that meeting, my phone rang. I already knew who it was before I answered. My father. His voice was tight, careful like he was. Negotiating instead of calling his son. He said Victor was falling apart, that he felt guilty, that holding on to anger was unhealthy. Then came the line I'd heard my entire childhood whenever someone else crossed a line. Be the bigger man. I told him no. I told him that being the bigger man didn't mean bleeding quietly so other people could stay comfortable. I told him Victor stopped being my family the night he crawled into my bed with the woman I was supposed to marry. There was a long pause. Then my father said I was tearing the family apart. So I made a decision that should have been made 6 years earlier. I uninvited him from the wedding. He hung up on me. That same week, Ellie showed up at my business partner's office. She didn't call, didn't text. She just appeared, asking questions about me, about the company, about whether I was really happy. My partner shut it down and called me immediately. That was the moment I stopped being patient. Julia didn't raise her voice. She didn't get emotional. She picked up her phone and made one call. By the next morning, Ellie had a cease and desist letter in her hands. Clear, professional, unforgiving. Any further contact would be considered harassment. Victor emailed me an apology the same day. I never opened it. Some words come too late to matter. The week before the wedding, the noise finally started to fade. No more calls, no more messages, no more ghosts knocking on the door of a life they forfeited. The night before the ceremony, Julia and I sat together in silence, her head on my shoulder. No anxiety, no chaos, just peace. Then my phone buzzed. An unknown number. One message. I'm sorry, Jasper. I stared at it for a long moment, then deleted it without replying. Because apologies aren't powerful when they're meant to ease the guilt of the person giving them. The wedding was everything W.E. wanted it to be. Small, honest, beautiful. No drama, no interruptions, no shadows from the past, just vows spoken clearly, surrounded by people who chose us without conditions. When I looked at Julia walking toward me, I realized something that felt like revenge without ever being planned. I didn't need to hurt them back. I had already won by building a life they no longer had access to. And as perfect as that day was, there was still one truth I hadn't fully said out loud yet. Now I'm married. Julia is asleep beside me as I record this, her breathing slow and steady, the kind of peace I never thought I'd have again. The apartment is quiet, the kind of quiet that doesn't echo with old memories anymore. And that's why I'm telling this story on Echoes of Revenge. Because people think revenge has to be loud, violent, cruel. They think closure comes from forgiveness, from hugs and apologies, and pretending the damage wasn't permanent. I don't believe that. What Ellie and Victor did was unforgivable. And the moment I accepted that, I stopped carrying their shame like it was mine. They tried one last time to pull me back into their chaos. Ellie with her truth, my father with his guilt, Victor with his apology. All of them wanted the same thing, to feel better without paying the full price of what they did. I refused. That was the revenge. Not screaming, not destroying them, not dragging the past into my future, just refusing to give them access to the life they helped break. Some relationships don't end because of misunderstandings. They end because staying would cost you your self-respect. 6 years ago, I lost everything in one night, or at least that's what it felt like. But standing here now, with a woman who chooses me every day, I see the truth clearly for the first time. I didn't lose my life back then. I escaped the wrong one, the important. Lesson is this: the price of being loved should never be the sacrifice of your own well-being. Some relationships cost too much, and the bravest thing you can do is close the account for good. The door is closed now, not with anger, with certainty. Some endings don't come with forgiveness, they come with clarity. For a long time, I thought moving on meant letting go of the anger, making peace with people who never protected me, and pretending betrayal was just a lesson instead of a wound. But the truth is, not every scar needs to be softened to prove you've healed. What Ellie and Victor did changed the course of my life forever. And I don't regret refusing to make them feel better about it. Because healing didn't come from reopening old doors. It came from locking them and building something better on the other side. I didn't need revenge that destroyed them. I chose the kind that rebuilt me. Today, I wake up next to someone who respects me, protects my peace, and never makes me question my worth. And that's something no apology could ever give me. If this story resonates with you, remember this: choosing yourself is not cruelty, protecting your boundaries is not bitterness, and walking away from people who broke you doesn't make you weak. It proves you survived. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, if you've ever had to walk away without an apology, or if you're still struggling to close a door that keeps reopening, you're not alone. Subscribe to Echoes of Revenge for more real, raw stories about betrayal, strength, and reclaiming your power. Like this video, if you believe peace is the strongest form of revenge, comment below and tell me this: have you ever chosen yourself, even when the people who hurt you wanted forgiveness instead? Your story matters, and sometimes telling it is the final act of revenge.